When we believe in magic, everything becomes possible. When we can imagine a world filled with fairies, elves, goblins, giants and dragons, trees and waters that tell stories, stones that hold memories and whisper messages, we begin to see that the veil between worlds is thinner than we think. And it is through imagination that we reawaken our magical child, the part of us that still believes anything is possible, the innocent, imaginative, and joyful self that sees life with wonder, with play, and with trust. And when we live from that place, the ordinary becomes extraordinary, and life itself turns into a magical path. And it took me some years to become a child again, and I really love it because it brings me so much joy and fun, and I don't take myself seriously. I laugh more, I dream more, and everything feels lighter. Being an adult always felt like so serious to me. So today I want to invite you to reconnect with your magical child and open yourself to magic, and come with me to Brittany, a land of legends, fairies and ancient stones. You will hear about my favorite legends and discover tools to connect with your magical child. Feel the magic that's alive in this world and within you. And hopefully you will expand what you believe is possible for you, because every dream you have can become a reality. So we are starting our journey in the small village of Pampon, where many legends begin. And it is said to be the gateway to the magical forest of Brocéliande, which is home to Merlin the enchanter, Viviane the lady of the lake, and the mysteries of the whole world. And so as soon as you arrive, everything around you speaks of legend. You can't help but open your mind and prepare yourself for magic. Everywhere you look, there are stories of fairies, Merlin, forest creature, the castle of the White Lady, Lancelot and the Knight of the Round Table. And so the names of the places, the art, the cafe, the souvenirs, everything is designed to remind you of the tales that shaped this land, and to awaken the part of you that still believe this might be true. And this is when you start reconnecting with your magical child, right? What if all of this is true? So let me put my magical child glasses on and I will tell you more about that. You experience the life you focus on, right? What would your life look like if you were to look at it with the eyes of a child? What would you see differently? What would change? Since I've arrived here, I've really conditioned my mind to see magic everywhere. And my intention is to let this forest surprise me and getting curious about it. And I think it's crazy what can happen and what you can perceive when you start to look at the trees with the eyes of a child. There is a lot of things that change. Yeah. And this is when I started to see the forest taking interesting shape. Like the trees appeared like portals with incredible colors. There were also trees that were expressing messages that I couldn't quite explain. And some trees had the shape of a deer, or some reminded me of other animals. And a few trees looked like they were speaking to each other or pointing the way forward. There were so many different emotions that the forest was transmitting. It was incredible. And I also visited Merlin's tomb, which is basically two standing stones. And the legend says that this is where Merlin is resting. He was sealed between these two stones by Viviane, who is the lady of the lake, the woman that he loved and shared all his magic with. And some say that she trapped him because she was jealous, and others say that it was out of love to protect his wisdom until the world was ready for it again. and is now actually the guardian of the forest, and the energy around the tomb is pretty much incredible. And people come and leave offerings, flowers, stones, notes, or little wishes in front of the tomb. And you know, they ask for guidance, for protection or inspiration. There is a lot of artists, writers, painters that come here to get inspired.
Did you know that scientists have actually discovered that trees can communicate and even help each other, mostly through underground network and chemical signals in the air? And so, for example, a big old tree can send food or support to smaller trees, especially if they are struggling or growing in the shade. And so they can do this through an underground network. And so it's like tiny threads that connect the roots of different trees, almost like an invisible internet under the forest floor. And so through this, trees can share nutrients, water, and even warning signals. And so when you look at the forest from this lens, plus you use your imagination, you can see that there is so much aliveness and communication and support happening all around you.
Some trees also have like specific symbols that reminds me of the Celtic symbols in writing. And I also saw some trees that have like the shape of an harp, like the music instrument. And so you look at this and you wonder, you imagine another world, another dimension where all the magical creatures of the forest are all around the harp, and everyone is like playing music and dancing and listening to the music. And I don't know, just thinking about that makes me feel so joyful. So we have the power to condition our mind for magic. We can choose to wonder every day. We can choose to create time to play and open ourselves to the beauty that's always around us. The magical child doesn't overanalyze or overthink. The magical child notices and uses imagination to expand reality. They are open and curious. They just don't see a tree or a stone. They wonder, what's that? What's that? And what's that? And why? Why? What story does this carry? Tell me more. So to embody the magical child, I love playing with the five senses. And so when I go to a forest, I love focusing on what I see, you know, what are the colors around me, what do they evoke to me, you know, look at these beautiful greens here, magic, right? And I also love to use the touch, like I can touch the leaves or I can touch the trees. I also love to use the smell. What am I smelling right now? And so all of this is helping reconnecting ourselves to the present moment and the magic. Yeah, it's really about like the magic of the present moment. And something else I love doing is playing like the fairies music or like a magical music for like 5-10 minutes. So I'm gonna use my headphones and I'm just gonna put that and walk with this music for like 5-10 minutes. And I just did that, and it's just so wonderful because it's like the music transports you, right? And you are in this forest, and so you start to see everything different. This really helps to boost your imagination and the magic side of life. This is a practice that I truly recommend. Not far from the village of Gerontek, there is a mysterious place called the Valley of No Return. And legend says that it was created by Morgane Le Fay, who was King Arthur's half-sister. She was a powerful enchantress, healer, magician, and astrologer who once lived in the forest of Brocéliande and was able to fly in the form of a bird. Morgane was passionate, wild and wise, but like every great heart, she also knew pain. And one day she fell deeply in love with a knight named Guillaume, one of Arthur's men. But Guillaume was not faithful. He betrayed Morgane with another woman, one of her own companion. And when she discovered it, she became furious. she cast a spell on the whole valley. Any man who was unfaithful would enter and never find his way out again. From that moment, the valley became enchanted, and many knights came drawn by beauty and curiosity. They saw the valley shining in the distance and they thought that it was paradise. But once they crossed the threshold, they stepped into illusion, and each man saw what his heart most desired: a perfect lover, endless joy, eternal youth, but none of it was real. They wandered for years, trapped in their own dreams, unable to see the truth or find their way back. And it is said that the entrance was guarded by dragons, which forced anyone attempting to escape to retrace their steps. Only a knight who had always been true in love could deliver the trapped knight. And that knight was Lancelot du Lac, who was raised by Viviane, the Lady of the Lake. And he was known for his courage and pure heart. And so when Lancelot entered the valley, he saw through the illusions that had captured so many other men. And his love was honest and his intentions were clear. And as he walked deeper into the valley, the mist began to lift and the false images faded. And the knight who had been wandering for so long finally awoke from their dreams. The spell was broken and the valley returned to peace. The valley of no return became a symbol, a reminder that the path to freedom always begins with honesty of the heart. A story bypasses the logical mind and speaks directly to that deeper part of us that remembers. And so that's why we can hear an ancient legend or a fairy tale and feel something awakening within us, even though sometimes we don't fully understand why. It's because it's awakening our imagination. When you listen to a story, your brain doesn't just hear it, it creates the story inside you. So stories literally reshape your inner world, and they create new possibilities for how you see and act in life. And we live in a world obsessed with information, with the news and all of those things that don't empower us. And in this world, stories remind us to feel again, to dream. They return us to the simplicity and openness of the magical child, the one who still believes, imagines, and plays. And personally, I love to read old myth, fairy tales, and children's stories. I've also been watching this Japanese series called The Fragrant Flower. I'm such a fan. And so this series awakens the same emotional innocence, sincerity, and wonder that the magical child represents. And so it shows the character and their emotions in a way that our Western society is not used to anymore. And I really, really love that.
Wait a minute, what's going on? I'm letting someone younger than me treat me to cake at our cake shop?
You know, I'm sorry for running out of here so suddenly. Yesterday evening.
Oh.
Please, I'd like to offer you this cake as an apology.
Thank you. But I can't accept it.
So those are some tools and ideas that you can use to feed your inner storyteller. You can also write short stories inspired by the places that you visit. If you have children or spend time with children, I believe that's an amazing way to connect with them. When you imagine and create stories, you activate the same neural network used for problem solving, empathy, and innovation, and it trains your mind to see possibilities instead of limitation. You also learn to trust inner images and sensations, and your intuition becomes stronger. You start feeling guided in real life, like noticing signs, synchronicities, and energy shifts more clearly. So when I returned from the forest, I saw my mom and she asked me, but Noemi, what's the difference between your imagination and what's real then? How do you know what's real? And I said that reality is the dream made visible, the manifested part. And imagination is the part of reality that hasn't yet been seen. Imagination shapes reality always. And through imagination, you access potential realities, new ideas, vision, dreams, stories, or energies that haven't yet taken form in the physical realm. So now I want to take you to Carnac, which is a town in Brittany that to me embodies the magic of turning imagination into form. And this town is home to the largest concentration of standing stones in the world. There are over 3,000 menhirs rising from the earth in perfect lines. Some are small, others are monumental, and they've been standing there for more than 6,000 years, even older than Stonehenge or the pyramids. And no one knows their exact purpose, but there are many theories and legends around the stones. Some believe they were astronomical calendars aligned with solar and lunar cycles. Others think they were sacred sites used for rituals of fertility, life, and death. And the stones are said to form an energetic grid connecting Carnac, the town, to other sacred sites across the planet. And local legends say they were Roman soldiers or ancient giants turned to stone by Merlin, and they are now guardians of the earth, or the sleeping warriors who will awaken again when the world is ready. And so each menhirs carries the soul of a giant or the memory of an ancestor watching over the land. And you can even see the faces on the stones. It's so impressive.
Look at this one here. Has again the eye, the nose like an elephant. So interesting. Even on the small ones, like this one here. Look at this one here at the back, like this one here. It looks like, I mean, for me, it's like an old woman who is seated on a chair and who is waiting for her husband to come back home. Do you see that? Like that's like here, like that's the chair, and that's the arm here, and that's the face, and that's the legs. Oh my god, I love that. That's so funny. Look at this one here. Here you have the eyes, right? See the eyes and the nose here, the mouth. So interesting.
On voit le nez là, qu'on est d'accord. Ah oui, c'est tout en diamant quoi.
Look at this one. Wow, this one is a king. This one is a warrior. Look at this one. This one is not happy. Yeah. This one has like an angry face. Look at this one here. This one is very sad. This one is very, very sad. Oh, she's like heartbroken. Heartbroken. Oh, we're here for you. Yes, take this. We're here for you. We are going to give her the smile back.
So this site is called the Alignment of Carnac. And to me, it holds a beautiful teaching about the connection between the earth and the sky, about being aligned, still, and grounded. And so the people who built them understood how everything is connected, the stars, the season, the cycles of nature, right? And to me, Carnac is where imagination meets embodiment. We have dreams, we imagine what our life could look like. We envision possibilities. We connect with the sky, the beauty of imagination and our magical child. And we draw it down, all of those possibilities, into the earth, into our body, into action, into physical reality, right? And when we are aligned spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically, like the stones, rooted in the earth but open to the sky, life flows naturally and creation happens with ease. And I think it is a beautiful reminder to start our days by connecting to source and grounding into the earth, and to return to our center anytime that we feel disconnected, because only presence and alignment can turn our dreams into reality. So I will finish this video by giving you a message from the giants. So I met a man near the Fontaine of Barenton, which is a fountain said to hold magical powers. And he was playing the drum, and we started talking about spirituality and about life. And he said, you know, I didn't believe in giants anymore until someone told me to go meet them. And so in this moment, I look at him and I thought, I believe in fairies and goblins and elves, but I didn't think about the giants. Not since I was a child, you know, since Jack and the Beanstalk. And so my mind started to stretch and expand, and I was like, we are more than I thought we are, right? There are also the giants. And then I thought about how throughout histories, giants have often been seen as creatures to be feared, especially when we look at modern culture. And in many myths, like Greek, Norse, Celtic, biblical, giants represent the forces of nature, mountains, storms, earthquakes, and time itself. And they often represent chaos or untamed power, untamed energy. And sometimes we can even see them as monsters. But I believe that the monster becomes monstrous only when its power is suppressed, rejected, or misused. And I believe that the deeper archetype of the giant is the builder, the guardian, the creator. They embody the raw creative power that can shape the world. And their work can be seen as foundational, right? They remind us that we are also creator, that we carry the same life force capable of shaping worlds. And maybe creating your dream life is about remembering both parts of yourself, like the magical child who dreams and the giant who builds and that is not afraid of his or her own power. But this natural genius that we all have often gets suppressed by modern education, fear-based teaching, rigid systems, and a culture disconnected from nature and the body. And so my point here is that if we nurture our magical side, our magical child, instead of suppressing and controlling it, if we can feed our own storyteller and get inspired by the magic around us, humanity can evolve into a higher state of consciousness. So let's create together a culture of trust, play, and open-hearted intelligence for the next evolution of humanity.